and welcome to this Zwift Run live stream. My name is Stephen. I'm a Zwift ambassador, a community run leader and your host today. There's a countdown clock up there showing how long to go before the start of the main event, so you've probably got time to tidy the kitchen, take the trash out and grab yourself a drink before we get going. If you've never seen Zwift before, it's an online game where athletes from all over the world train, compete against and socialise with each other live and in real time. All you need to take part is a foot pod, an internet connection, access to a treadmill and a device on which to run the Zwift app. You can use a computer, an iPad, an iPhone, a high-end Android device. Zwift even works on Apple TV. If you have a smart treadmill, you don't even need a foot pod, as your treadmill will send your speed direct to Zwift. Once you've logged in and made sure your equipment is connected, you can join others live for structured group workouts or social runs. You could do a solo workout or take part in one of the many in-game challenges. You could also pit yourself against people from all over the world in a race. There are various Zwift worlds. Some are based on existing places like London, New York, Innsbruck, Richmond, Virginia and Harrogate in the UK. But the biggest world is the fictional Watopia, where you can run in glass tunnels underwater, through the middle of a volcano, in a jungle, up to the top of a snow-capped mountain and on country trails. Watopia is where the Zwift developers let their imagination fly. Like any computer game, the more you run, the higher up the levels you climb and the more virtual goodies you require. If you're a regular treadmill runner, Zwift is going to transform your training. If you're a hater, Zwift is going to change the way you think about indoor running. Before we go any further, if you're watching on YouTube, please click that subscribe button and the bell icon so you're notified every time we go live on this channel. If you're watching on Facebook, please click the like button on the Film My Run page. Film My Run is also my other YouTube channel where I post real world runs, so if you're interested in marathons, ultra running, 10Ks or triathlons, you'll find product reviews, interviews and races over on that channel. I've been running all my life. I started running long distance races in 2011 when I ran my first half marathon, and that was followed a year later by my first marathon in Paris. I've run the Paris Marathon every year since and have now run well over 100 marathons and ultras. I started using Zwift at the beginning of 2015 when indoor cycling and smart trainers really took off. In the early days, I held the long distance record for cycling of 500 kilometres on Zwift for about 48 hours. And when running started in 2016, I was the first person to run a marathon on Zwift. So if you have any questions about Zwift, if I don't know the answer, I probably know somebody who does. Okay, so now you can go and take the trash out and get that drink. And make sure you keep an eye on that countdown and be back in time for the start proper. Well, go on then, don't just sit there gawping at me. Basically, this message is going to go around in a loop again and again until the start of the run, so you may as well go and do something constructive in the meantime. Hello and welcome to this Zwift Run live stream. My name is Stephen. I'm a Zwift ambassador, a community run leader and your host today. There's a countdown clock up there showing how long to go before the start of the main event, so you've probably got time to tidy the kitchen, take the trash out and grab yourself a drink before we get going. If you've never seen Zwift before, it's an online game where athletes from all over the world train, compete against and socialise with each other live and in real time. All you need to take part is a foot pod, an internet connection, access to a treadmill and a device on which to run the Zwift app. You can use a computer, an iPad, an iPhone, a high-end Android device. Zwift even works on Apple TV. If you have a smart treadmill, you don't even need a foot pod, as your treadmill will send your speed direct to Zwift. Once you've logged in and made sure your equipment is connected, you can join others live for structured group workouts or social runs. You could do a solo workout or take part in one of the many in-game challenges. You could also pit yourself against people from all over the world in a race. There are various Zwift worlds. Some are based on existing places like London, New York, Innsbruck, Richmond, Virginia and Harrogate in the UK. But the biggest world is the fictional Watopia, where you can run in glass tunnels underwater, through the middle of a volcano, in a jungle, up to the top of a snow-capped mountain and on country trails. Watopia is where the Zwift developers let their imagination fly. Like any computer game, the more you run, the higher up the levels you climb and the more virtual goodies you require. If you're a regular treadmill runner, Zwift is going to transform your training. If you're a hater, Zwift is going to change the way you think about indoor running. Before we go any further, if you're watching on YouTube, please click that subscribe button and the bell icon so you're notified every time we go live on this channel. If you're watching on Facebook, please click the like button on the Film My Run page. Film My Run is also my other YouTube channel where I post real world runs, so if you're interested in marathons, ultra running, 10Ks or triathlons, you'll find product reviews, interviews and races over on that channel. I've been running all my life. I started running long distance races in 2011 when I ran my first half marathon, and that was followed a year later by my first marathon in Paris. I've run the Paris Marathon every year since and have now run well over 100 marathons and ultras. I started using Zwift at the beginning of 2015 when indoor cycling and smart trainers really took off. In the early days, I held the long distance record for cycling of 500 kilometres on Zwift for about 48 hours. And when running started in 2016, I was the first person to run a marathon on Zwift. So if you have any questions about Zwift, if I don't know the answer, I probably know somebody who does. Okay, so now you can go and take the trash out and get that drink. And make sure you keep an eye on that countdown and be back in time for the start proper. Go on then, don't just sit there gawping at me. Basically, this message is going to go around in a loop again and again until the start of the run, so you may as well go and do something constructive in the meantime. Hello and welcome to this Zwift Run live stream. My name is Stephen. I'm a Zwift ambassador, a community run leader and your host today. There's a countdown clock up there showing how long to go before the start of the main event, so you've probably got time to tidy the kitchen, take the trash out and grab yourself a drink before we get going. If you've never seen Zwift before, it's an online game where athletes from all over the world train, compete against and socialise with each other live and in real time. All you need to take part is a foot pod, an internet connection, access to a treadmill and a device on which to run the Zwift app. You can use a computer, an iPad, an iPhone, a high-end Android device. Zwift even works on Apple TV. If you have a smart treadmill, you don't even need a foot pod, as your treadmill will send your speed direct to Zwift. Once you've logged in and made sure your equipment is connected, you can join others live for structured group workouts or social runs. You could do a solo workout or take part in one of the many in-game challenges. You could also pit yourself against people from all over the world in a race. There are various Zwift worlds. Some are based on existing places like London, New York, Innsbruck, Richmond, Virginia and Harrogate in the UK. But the biggest world is the fictional Watopia, where you can run in glass tunnels underwater, through the middle of a volcano, in a jungle, up to the top of a snow-capped mountain and on country trails. Watopia is where the Zwift developers let their imagination fly. Like any computer game, the more you run, the higher up the levels you climb and the more virtual goodies you require. If you're a regular treadmill runner, Zwift is going to transform your training. If you're a hater, Zwift is going to change the way you think about indoor running. Before we go any further, if you're watching on YouTube, please click that subscribe button and the bell icon so you're notified every time we go live on this channel. If you're watching on Facebook, please click the like button on the Film My Run page. Film My Run is also my other YouTube channel where I post real world runs, so if you're interested in marathons, ultra running, 10Ks or triathlons, you'll find product reviews, interviews and races over on that channel. I've been running all my life. I started running long distance races in 2011 when I ran my first half marathon, and that was followed a year later by my first marathon in Paris. I've run the Paris Marathon every year since, and have now run well over 100 marathons and ultras. I started using Zwift at the beginning of 2015 when indoor cycling and smart trainers really took off. In the early days, I held the long distance record for cycling of 500 kilometres on Zwift for about 48 hours. And when running started in 2016, I was the first person to run a marathon on Zwift. So if you have any questions about Zwift, if I don't know the answer, I probably know somebody who does. Okay, so now you can go and take the track out and get that drink. And make sure you keep an eye on that countdown and be back in time for the start proper. Well, go on then, don't just sit there gawping at me. Basically, this message is going to go around in a loop again and again until the start of the run, so you may as well go and do something constructive in the meantime. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Film My Run on Zwift. My name is Stephen Cousins and we are broadcasting live on Facebook and on YouTube. While we're getting everything ready, it would be absolutely awesome if you could go and subscribe to the Film My Run YouTube channel and also the Zwift Live YouTube channel. You can also find us on Facebook at facebook.com/filmmyrun and also Twitter at filmmyrun, and the website is www.filmmyrun.com. It's very nearly time, so sit back, relax, don't forget to drop me a ride on and watch me do all the hard work. Hello, welcome along to the Bag That Badge series. We're doing the chili pepper route today. We've got Victoria with us, but Victoria has actually decided to do a different run tonight. She's going to go a bit slower and do incline. Even though she's here with us, she's going to kind of essentially do the Film My Run 500. But hello to everybody. Hello to Paul Hayward, Anthony Anderson, Amy Green. Leafon as well is in the chat. Hello, Leafon. And Agus207, he says, hello, bro. Already gave you a follow. Oh, he wants a follow back. Well, we'll have to see. Right, away we go. So I'm going to go at 9 kph, I think, just for the time being. Okay, so you need to go at 5 of 600 meters, 400 meters. I mean, approximately, it doesn't really matter. You know. Welcome to Bag That Badge. Baghdad Badge. That's a Baghdad Badge then. Bag That Badge. It is hot, isn't it? Victoria's saying it's too hot in here. Just do normal. Just run with us. Right, she might have abandoned this idea already. It is, and you haven't got a fan. Oh yeah, you have got a fan, but still. Right, so nice and steady. 9 kph. It's an 8-kilometre run on the Chili Pepper route. If you are new, hopefully you will get this badge today. You might even be old and hoping to get this badge. Right, so Tina's on. Hello, Tina. We are doing 8 kilometres of the Chili Pepper route to bag that badge this evening. Getting up to speed. I've just had some chips. I felt very hungry earlier on, so I just made myself some chips. And now I feel very full and bloated as I'm running, which is classic, isn't it? Leo says, well, I hope your day's been better than mine this morning. Treadmill. Oh, better than mine, as in my treadmill disaster this morning. So far, everything's connected and working. Oh, Film My Run 500 this morning was a complete disaster. First, I couldn't get the treadmill connected. And then when I tried to get it connected and we just started, Zwift crashed on me. So I rebooted and it still wouldn't connect. And then Zwift crashed on me a second time. And then I rebooted a third time and it finally got it connected. And then the internet dropped out and YouTube died. It was an absolute nightmare. Yeah. Tina has just had burger and chips cooked on the fire pit. Was yummy. Very nice. Well, I had last night's leftover fish and chips. Some of them anyway. There's loads left over. So I just had a few leftover fish and chips. Well, I didn't use anything that was in that tub for Elsa. I didn't use any of that. Well, there's fish in that tub. Oh. Or maybe not then. I don't know. I don't think so. Oh no, now I'm in the bad books because I've eaten all the fish. Right, 0.5 kilometre in. We are... I think it's just over 8 kilometres then, isn't it? It must be just over 8 kilometres this run tonight. So... Anthony says, sounds like this morning was a lot of fun. Fun is one way to describe it, Anthony. I lost my sense of humour quite early on. And I just eventually, I gave up on the live stream and just got the run done as best I could. Wow, Leo's had a full bag of popcorn and some M&Ms. And... Tina says, congratulations to Elsa on her piano exam. Yeah, she's very pleased with that, and so are we. Did amazing. Oh. So, yeah, we had a bit of fun with it. This actually was a couple of weeks ago now, but we've only just got the results. So, when she went for her exam... We bought her a Starbucks coffee or something anyway on the way to the exam just to calm her down because she was quite nervous. And she managed to spill it all over her white school t-shirt. So ended up happening was, because it was quite a hot day, I had to take my t-shirt off and give it to Elsa. Elsa wore my t-shirt and I sat in the church car park topless, not allowed to go into the exam, and sit looking weird in the church car park with no top on. And Elsa wearing an oversized t-shirt. Leo says, any news of London Marathon yet? Well, loads of people are getting their rejection emails today, so I hope you've got yours. Both Victoria and I have been rejected. Victoria is perfectly happy with that because she wasn't that enamoured by the London Marathon anyway. And it doesn't matter for me because I've already got my good for age time anyway, but I'm very sorry for anyone who's got another rejection email today and who wanted to get in. Paul Hayward has eaten a small bag of Haribos. Sarah Jacobson says, this is a classic Stephen story. Related, which story? The story of the t-shirt or the story of the film My Run 500 tech disaster? Or are they both classic Stephen? So Paul Hayward had a small bag of Haribo. He found them in his pigeonhole at work. Isn't that nice? That's like when you look in your pocket and you suddenly find a £10 note that you'd forgotten you had. Exactly. Just keep running until the badge comes up. Amy Green has had her 7th rejection for the London Marathon. Yeah, the Elsa's t-shirt one that Sarah Jacobson says is a classic story. Yeah, I know. All unfortunate stories about me end up with my shirt off, don't they? 1 kilometre done of Bag That Bags this evening. Yeah, Amy, I'm very sorry about your 7th rejection. You know what we'll have to do, Amy? We will have to get you properly trained and get you your good for age marathon time so you don't have to enter the ballot. I don't know what your good for age time would be. Training for the big dance in Chamonix! Exclamation mark. Really looking forward to it. Right, Amy Green says GFA, good for age, is completely out of reach. Well, what is it? What is good for age for you, Amy?
Yeah, Amy, I don't know what your good for age is, but I always thought a sub 4 marathon was out of my reach. But if you actually train for a specific race, a specific time, you might surprise yourself. Paul Hayward would like to know what his good for age is. And Paul, I don't know how old you are. Paul has a good suggestion. He says, take 2 shirts to the next race. Yeah, not only did Elsa drop 1 drink down her school top, she managed to launch a 2nd drink through the car and it went all over the handbrake. In a right old mess. But all is forgiven. She got a distinction and it cost me a fortune yesterday taking her to the salon to get her nails painted. Amy says her good for age is sub 3:45. Paul Hayward is the same age as Stephen, 35. So what's that, 3:15 or 3:10? 3 hours, 10 minutes, Paul. Leo says, funny small story. I don't mind talking about it. But 2 weeks ago, I was going through coats. And it was my wife's coat. And he hadn't sorted out any of the pockets. And there was £70 of old banknotes. That's amazing, Leo. Well, it doesn't matter if they're old banknotes, you just take them to the bank and they'll convert them. A nice gift from Susanna. Last night, Stephen and I did a hilly trail race for local running clubs. We both felt like we ran well, but then when we looked at our finishing times, we realised that we were both slower than last year. I think the 2 100-mile races are still making our body feel fatigued. Leo says he changed the notes over and spent the money on new shoes. I assume that's new running shoes, Leo. Not new brogues or spats. Thank you, Amy. She says, well done, both of you. Anthony Anderson was brave and he risked all this morning with a trail run on the banks of the River Stour. Very nice. Leo says, of course, I bought Brooks trail running shoes. Yep, and they'll make you run with a smile, Leo. But you're not allowed to test them out yet. Not until you're fully recovered.
A couple of people at last night's race had those new carbon-plated trail shoes. Hoka carbon... What were they called again? Can you remember? Tecton X. Oh yeah, they're not that new. They've been out for a little while, but I haven't seen many people wearing them. So yeah, 2 of our club mates last night had them. And one guy said that they definitely feel fast. But he said they don't feel like a standard road running carbon plated shoe. He actually said they felt a bit more like a rocker plate. Like when you're on a bike, on those rocker plates on a bike, he said it felt a bit more like that. No, not the Rocket X, Leo. These are actual trail shoes. Rocket X are road shoes. These are Tecton X. Look them up, Hoka Tecton X. Oh. Yes, Amy, you just need fast trainers. So 3:45, Amy. It may seem out of reach, and maybe it is, but it's one day or one training block. It might be worth having a go and seeing what you can do. You know, if you're willing to commit to 12 weeks of hard training, proper hard training, with a goal of maybe trying to get under 4 hours for a marathon. You never know. Honestly, some people settle into a mindset that something is unobtainable, or they can't do it, or they're not physically built for it, or they're not fit enough, or they haven't got the genetics, or whatever it might be. And you honestly, sometimes, well, I know for sure we are capable of so much more than we believe. I mean, I talk about my own marathon running. So I went out to Manchester, and I kind of set out at this stupid pace. And that pace was what I once did for 5k, and believed that that pace was my 5k pace, and it was a really hard effort to do 5k at that pace. And then in Manchester Marathon, I ran that pace for 26 or 27 kilometres. Paul says, I ran 5k at 12.7 kilometres per hour pace. I guess I need at least 13 for sub 23 minutes. Yes, so sub 20 is 15 kph. So sub 23 would be, I can't do it in kilometres per hour. 5 minutes per kilometre would get you in 25 minutes. So 4 minutes 30 per kilometre would get you in at 22.5 minutes. So 4 minutes 30 per kilometre get you a park run of 22.5.
I can't remember what my park run PB is for, but whatever it is, genuinely you can match it. I still remember the day that I used you as a pacer to get a 5k PB on Zwift.
So yeah, we're getting behind on all these comments. There's so many comments coming in. Thank you very much, guys. Leo and Sarah and Amy and Tina and Paul. Leo says, the best running road shoes I have used, I assure you, are the Asics Metaspeed Sky Plus. Yeah, I wanted to buy some of them, and when I was really keen on buying them, they were never in stock. So I ended up buying the Endorphin Pros instead, which I wasn't all that happy with, really, to be honest. They were only okay. Sarah says, for me, it's just hard to envision how to translate a speed workout to keeping that pace for 4 hours. The best road running shoes oh, that's Leo's. Yeah, I mean, you don't run a marathon at your speed workout speed. So your speed workouts, your fast workouts, your interval training will be much faster than marathon pace. So you've got your long, slow runs, which are slower than marathon pace, and you've got your fast speed sessions, which are faster than marathon pace, much faster. And then your marathon pace would be lower than that. Now, the way I often train to heart rate, so the way to look at it is your marathon pace should be just below your threshold, your heart rate threshold. So your heart rate threshold is the pace that you can hold for 1 hour. And just below that is your marathon pace. So my heart rate threshold, I think, is around 161 beats per minute. And I run just around about that for marathon pace. I think maybe it's a bit higher than that.
Amy believes she's not physically built for a fast marathon pace. But Amy, you only need to look at, is it Charlotte Purdue? She looks a similar size to you, Amy. Stephen thinks she does about 2:20, 2:25 for marathon. I'm not suggesting you do anything like that. But what it does mean is that there is no marathon shape. There's no shape for a runner. You know, it's a combination of genetics and also hard work. You've got to put in the effort in training plans.
Right, Tina Beard. And we always thought running was a cheap sport. Yeah.
Tina, I'll tell you about running being a cheap sport. It now involves holidays abroad for the whole family for us.
Yeah, but you're right. Shoes are getting, especially road running, carbon plated shoes are getting ridiculously expensive. You can spend £250 on a pair of shoes now for running your marathon. Paul Hayward did parkrun on Saturday in Meta Speeds for the first time. Victoria's looking up her 5k time. You did do under 23. So Victoria did a parkrun last year in 22:44, but you need to work out what pace that is then. So Victoria says, Paul, you are definitely capable of doing under 23 minutes for a parkrun. Tina says, my husband would have a fit if he knew half the stuff I buy for running. Yeah, Victoria would have a fit as well if she knew what I bought for running. I don't tell her half the stuff I buy.
I discover probably a quarter of what he buys because he uses my credit card.
Busted. Right, we've got 5k to go of the Bag That Badge chili pepper route. Leo has offered to give Amy training on Zwift, which is very kind of him. We could go for it from January again, Amy. Come January, when it's cold and miserable outside, we'll go and we'll do our 12-week training session like we've done for the last 2 years on Zwift. Probably the Paris Marathon training runs again, but we'll see. Oh, Paul Hayward has time to train for a fast park run because he has an 8-week holiday starting on Saturday. Yes, of course. School's out for summer soon. Our kids have got 2 weeks left of school and then they're on holiday for 6 weeks. It seems, says Anthony, that every new version of a running shoe that comes out has about £30 put on the price tag. Yes, I know. We'll be paying £300 for running shoes soon, won't we? It won't be long. Yeah, it is crazy, but the thing is, if we didn't buy them, then they wouldn't be able to price them so high. The thing, we all buy them, don't we? So, well, Victoria doesn't, she says, and I'm sure plenty of you guys don't, but I do. So, I'm as much to blame as the shoe manufacturing companies and the retailers, because I'm bought into the hype and I buy these ridiculously expensive shoes, although not many of them. I mean, I know I've got friends who buy brand new expensive running shoes every week, but I rarely buy new shoes. But when I have bought 2 pairs of very expensive carbon plated shoes.
But when old Strava tells you to change your shoes at 400 miles, I think Stephen waits for, is it 400 kilometres? You wait for 4,000 kilometres.
Tina says she doesn't buy the expensive shoes and she shops around for the shoes that she does have, yeah. And that's what Victoria would do as well. Victoria would always look for the discount codes and the discounted shoes from last year. It's always a good idea, actually, to buy last year's shoes because they're always on offer. And yes, it's always a good idea to use, if you're a member of England Athletics, so if you're a member of a running club, you will more than likely have an England Athletics membership. And if you have an England Athletics membership, you can get very good discount, well I say very good, up to 20% discounts at various shops. So Runners Need, sportsshoes.com, and there's another one as well that just escapes me now, but I think Sports Shoes do the discount, don't they? Anyway, there are definitely 2 or 3 running shops where you can get a 15 or 20% discount on running shoes with your England Athletics membership. Paul Hayward says he gets that discount, or he gets the discounted shoes. Yeah, because there's nothing wrong with last year's model. It's just, you know, the people who want to compete at the front, they all want this year's model because it promises to be slightly faster. And you don't want to lose a race because you're wearing last year's shoes and everyone else was wearing the new, latest, speedy shoes. But there's nothing wrong with last year's shoes, and they are much cheaper. Victoria's marathon shoes are from about 3 years ago. She's got the New Balance Fuel Cells. My current ones are the Endorphin Elites, which are carbon plated, and they're quite new. Before that, I was using the Nike Vaporflies for about 4 years. Victoria's are not carbon plated, she says. I thought they were. Oh, it's one of those plastic plates. So Victoria's fuel cells have got the, oh, what's the plastic called? Nylon, carbon. Shoe snobbery, exactly, yes. 4 kilometres done. We are almost halfway through the Chili Pepper route here on Zwift, live on the Zwift Run channel on YouTube and Twitch, and the Film My Run channel on Facebook. Hello, if you're watching on Facebook or Twitch, feel free to move over to YouTube. That's where all the chat is. That's where everybody gathers. So YouTube is kind of a mixture of social and good quality video, because Twitch has got the best quality video, Facebook has got the best social aspect, but combine the two and you get YouTube. Apparently, says Paul, the foam disintegrates even when you don't wear them. Well, I suppose it would do, yes, because if it's exposed to the air, I guess everything exposed to oxygen will deteriorate slowly over time, and foam, I guess, would be more susceptible than, say, solid metal to oxidization. Yeah, I mean, everything gets eaten away, doesn't it? And when you wear your shoes, of course, you sweat in them, and those sweat particles can grow bacteria that eat away at the foam of your shoes as well.
Talking of feet and shoes, I have been plagued with really bad blisters the past couple of months. So I invested in a pair of those underwear that make socks. What make is it? Is it Runderwear, isn't it? Oh yeah. So Runderwear make do anti-blister socks. They're two layers to them. They're in the sale, so I thought I'd try them. But they just make my feet feel unbelievably hot. It's like they're on fire tonight. Anthony says the midsole foam is deteriorating while the shoes are on the shelf in the shop. Yeah, good point.
So I'm aware that there are, certainly when we do bag that badge, I'm noticing it more and more now. There are increasingly numbers of people who I don't recognise. Which is great, because that's what we want for Bag That Badge. We want new runners. It's not that we don't love you regular lot. And it's great to have Hoistins, Robin and Amy and Paul in the run with us. But it's great to have new runners who are getting the badge for the first time. That's what we want. So I'm aware that I just need to G people on a bit in game sometimes and encourage people.
Paul says my hot socks are appropriate for the volcano. Perhaps subconsciously that's why I started talking about it. Because my feet are getting even hotter as I see the volcanic lava. Tina is suggesting that we should all go back to running in plimsolls. Those black school ones. Or DAPs. Or Stephen saying Dunlop Green Flash. They were the posh ones though, I never had any of those.
Yeah, Dunlop Green Flash were the things to have when I was a kid. But I don't think I ever had any. My parents were too poor to buy me any. Or just kept all the money from themselves and refused to buy me them. Paul says DAPs. I mean, I don't have a problem with super shoes, as you can clearly see, because I use them, I buy them and I use them. And I understand what you're saying, Tina, about we should all go back to using plimsolls. The argument is, at what point in the development of shoe technology is too much too much? You know, is carbon plates in shoes too much of an advantage? Is it helping the human body too much? Are we relying more on the technology than our own muscles? Yeah. I saw that article as well. So, oh, Darren's going to join us next time. Thank you for Bag That Badge. Thank you, Darren. What was I going to say? Yeah, and so, I mean, I think, you know, you can... What's going to be next? What's going to be next in the kind of pantheon of super shoes or shoe technology? Is the next thing going to be too much, or the thing after that going to be too much? And was it, you know, when we started to get cushioning in shoes, was that too much? Or should we say that even wearing plimsolls is too much, because it's too, you know, why should we have a covering around our feet? Surely we should just run barefoot. That would be the most natural thing to do, wouldn't it? Darren says Adidas Prime X is banned by World Athletics. Are those the ones that are really high off the ground? Huge stack. Tina says, I don't have a problem with super shoes, but they are just so out of reach for most people. Yes, if you are just a fun runner or a hobby runner, or somebody who just wants to enjoy running, wants to improve their fitness, but isn't wanting to compete particularly seriously, you know, I'm in the dodgy realms of becoming the serious runner here, and that would be a bit naff. But yeah, if you are just a fun runner who enjoys going out and running, spending £250 on a pair of shoes is not worth it, is it? It's just not. It's not value for money.
Darren says yes, those ones. They're 50mm stack height. Tina, yes. Super shoes and ultra vans are out of my price bracket. Yes.
She says ultra vans are out of our price bracket, and yet she still goes on and on about wanting an ultra van. If we can't afford it, we can't afford it, and we should stop thinking about it. Right, Victoria pulls out the Only Fools and Horses line. You never know, next year we'll be millionaires. Victoria has just hit 5k. She's about 200 metres behind me and Paul and Amy. Oh, Victoria is at 4% on the treadmill, so that's pretty impressive. Very good. Yeah, no running tracks, you just have to run on a field. A muddy field. What did I say? Sarah says, what happened to being inspirational? We're just realistic. We're just realists. Realists, that's what we are. Bluntly said, and without offending anyone, if you don't run under 4 minutes per kilometre, super shoes are useless in terms of performance. Yeah, I've heard that also about running at 1% on the treadmill. They say that, I say they, the scientific community who have done research on these things say that running at 1%, people think is supposed to be more like running outdoors. It's supposed to biomechanically, supposed to be running more like running outdoors. But I've lost my train of thought now. Hang on a minute, I'll get it back in a second. But when you go at 0, unless you're going at faster than 4 minutes per kilometre, it doesn't make any difference, apparently, according to the research.
Amy has a question for you, Stephen. What about running at 0.5%?
Yes, that makes all the difference, Amy. You should definitely do that. 1% is rubbish and pointless. 0.5% is perfect.
Anthony, is agreeing with Darren Van Dit's comment. Running at 6 minutes per kilometre with super shoes on is actually counterproductive because of the rigidity of the carbon plate. Yeah, that's made Tina and me feel much better. No point in spending all that money. Amy says sport, so. Darren said it's his job and he has done his scientific research. I'm a technical running advisor at a sports shoe shop. There you go. So I'm not missing out on anything.
Right, we have 2.5 kilometres to go. We've been running for 38 minutes. Heart rate for me is in zone 2 at the moment, around about 120. Victoria's heart rate is 143, but she is at 4% on the treadmill, doing very well. And yeah, we've got 2.5k left of the Bag That Badge chili pepper route this evening, nice and easy. Following on from this morning's Film My Run 500 total disaster, which was a nightmare, but I've got it. I'm over it now. It's not affecting me mentally at all. I don't have post-traumatic stress disorder kicking in at all.
Tina's asking Amy. She said, I thought you didn't have 0 shoes on your Noble, in which case you're always at 2%. So if you then put it onto 0.5%, you're actually running at 2.5. Sarah says you don't sound over it. Darren says best shoe for you ladies would be the Saucony Speed 3, Nike Pegasus Turbo, or the Asics Magic Speed. Not tried any of those, Darren. Mine is the New Balance Fuel Cell TC. Quite an old model.
Yeah, so there you go, Amy. If you don't have the 0 shoes, Your treadmill is already at 2% anyway, Amy. So you're running at 2% anyway, and then if you're adding a little bit more, you're at 2 or 3%. So there you go, you're working harder than you thought you were. Anthony says, several of my clubmates have these super shoes, and it hasn't made them any faster at all. They are not happy. Well, that's interesting. I have to say, I think they have made me faster. I have to admit. I think when I wear... I mean, it might be psychological. It might be purely... what's the word I'm looking for? When you have a pill that's placebo, yeah. It might be purely placebo, but when I wear my Saucony Endorphin Elite carbon plates, I feel absolutely invincible. I feel so fast. And yeah, I think a lot of it probably is psychological, but they have got me my fastest marathon times, so I'm not complaining at all. Darren says New Balance Fuel Cell is a great shoe, Vic. Amy already knew, really, that she was doing 2.5–3%. I don't know what the magic speeds are. Did you say, you mean the meta speeds? Paul Hayward, I think that's a typo from meta speed. I have not got the new versions of the meta speeds, Paul, so I don't know what they're like. Darren says, I need to write something very important. One moment, though. So we're going to hang on tenterhooks while we wait for Darren's important post. Amy says, I like my Brooks Ghost and the Night Pegasus, but they got destroyed at Beachy Head. Yes. Well, a trail marathon will put your shoes to the test. That's true. Tina says, your fast marathon, Stephen, nothing to do with good training then? Well, all right, yeah, I mean, there is that as well. We did have a pretty good training block, didn't we, from January to April? Right, Paul Hayward says, yes, no, magic speed. I've not heard of the magic speed. Right, Darren says magic as well, not meta. Okay, so it wasn't a typo, but I've not heard of the magic speeds. Different models. Okay, I don't know then. Are they magic compared to the metas? The meta speed have been made by Facebook. The magic speed, well, they're made by Harry Potter. Robin is just finishing. Well done, Robin. Good work, Robin. Nice to see you. So the run is 8k. So Robin's just coming to the end. Big Pilar from the Netherlands is just coming to the end as well. Liebeck from Norway has 500 metres to go. Sylvester from the UK has 300 metres to go. We have just over a mile left here in the Beacon group. Right, Paul Hayward says the magic speed are cheaper than the meta speed. Right, so Tina says your good time in a marathon was nothing to do with training then, Stephen. And Amy says, no, it was just the shoes, Tina. Nothing to do with Stephen's training or fitness. Yeah. So we're running through the Italian village now, with a mile to go. And we'll be back no, I won't be back tomorrow. So, right, this is what I need to tell you. Tomorrow I am not running live because I am in London at a concert, of all things, taking my daughter to see The Weekend, or The Weekend, in London. So there's no live stream tomorrow because it's a daddy-daughter day. But we might see about doing something at the weekend, although we're quite busy at the weekend as well, so we might not. We'll certainly be back on Monday. Oh yeah, we were going to do a half marathon with Darren on Sunday morning, weren't we? Sunday. When were we doing this half marathon? Oh yeah. Right, we'll have to see. We're not entirely sure of the situation. With reference to my daughter spilling coffee all over herself just before her piano exam, and talking about going to the gig with my daughter tomorrow, Paul Hayward says, take 2 shirts. Probably a good idea, Paul. We are going to drive up, so I can put a complete change of clothing for both of us in the boot of the car. So if a disaster occurs, we can go back to the car and change. It's all going to be fine. So I hope you all have a great weekend, whatever you're doing. And we'll be back on Monday for the Monday community run at 5:30, isn't it, these days? It used to be 6:30, but I've noticed recently it's 5:30. Always good for us old people to get to bed early. 25 degrees, by the way, here in shed quarters, with 43% humidity on the Amy Green Memorial Thermometer. And we're just about to hit 7 kilometres. There we go. 7k done. Victoria is speeding up on 4% on the treadmill, doing her little climbing session today. Darren says, very important factor about carbon-plated shoes. Says that for those that don't gain any performance benefit, the athlete will gain one very important thing: recovery. A carbon-plated shoe is much gentler, yes. So, obviously, if you're wearing a carbon-plated shoe, it's like having extra cushioning. You know, the impact of your foot on the ground causes shock waves to go up your leg, which is why everybody who doesn't run tells you that running is bad for your knees. But the more cushioning you have, the less impact you are going to have on your foot, on your joints, on your muscles as you run, as you impact the ground. And a carbon-plated shoe is working like a shock absorber as you place your foot. And what happens, yeah, thank you, Darren. What happens when you place your foot down, the carbon plate reduces the impact of your foot and stores that energy inside the carbon plate. And then when you push off again, the carbon plate releases that energy back into your heel, so you push off harder. So he says a carbon-plated shoe is much gentler on the foot. If I ran 10k sub 35 with super shoes versus a normal cushioned shoe, it would take me 4 days to recover, compared to a couple of days with max with a super shoe.
Okay, thanks for that, Darren. So now you're telling me I do need to spend millions of pounds on a super shoe.
Oh yeah, so Victoria was quite happy a minute ago that she didn't have to spend money on carbon-plated shoes. Now she thinks she does. Right, Tina says it's 6:30 on Monday. Fridays is now 5:30. Okay, so it's the ZLDR recovery run on a Friday, which is 5:30. The community run is indeed 6:30. So Paul Hayward is now back on the shopping... Oh, Paul says back on the shopping list, Tina. So, yeah. Right, Darren says 10 a.m. on Sunday morning. What time is our race? Oh no, Darren, we might have a problem. We have a race, and I thought the race was Sunday afternoon, but we think it's Sunday morning at 11 o'clock, so that time doesn't work now for me. I'm really sorry, Darren. I'll message you later, Darren, about it. Paul Hayward, talking about Darren saying it will take you 4 days to recover if you wear non-carbon plated shoes opposed to 2 with a super shoe. Paul Hayward said it will take my wallet 4 months to recover. Yeah. I really love Klarna. I have to say, whenever I buy new shoes now, I do tend to use Klarna, and I pay it over 3 months, which is a lot less impact on the wallet, that has to be said. Much more enjoyable spending experience. Anthony Anderson says, I have just recently bought a new pair of Asics Kano 30 and have noticed that they have much more cushioning than they used to have. So they've obviously rejigged the cushioning on that model. Yeah, Darren says we can reschedule. Cheers, Darren. Yeah, I thought my race was in the afternoon on Sunday, but Victoria's telling me it's in the morning, so we might have to reschedule. 600 meters left of our Bag That Badge run this evening. We're just running it over the Jolene Washington Bridge. Yeah, Darren says good one, Paul. So I've enjoyed that. Good chat today in YouTube. Nice conversation. We've been too nice again, haven't we, today? This is now becoming a thing. We're having days where there's much less banter and much more serious and engaging chat, and this can't go on. Right, so Darren now says to Anthony Anderson about his Kano 30s. He says they now use something called Pure Gel instead of the normal gel that they used to have. So that's what the difference is with your Asics shoes. Sarah says, I'm quite happy to change that. Well, we haven't got long, Sarah, so if you want to get some underhand remarks in or some, abuse of Stephen, you've only got a couple of minutes to do it. But, maybe we could keep this run as a nice, polite, nice conversation, and then we'll get back to having a good old go at each other on the next run. Oh, okay. Coming up to the end, 300 metres to go. Sarah Jacobson was going to say something about me not being able to manage my own calendar. Well, Victoria always tells me if it's not written in pen on the calendar in the kitchen, then it's not happening. Or in the digital calendar on our phones. I thought you said it had to be written down. Oh, she doesn't write. Victoria says she doesn't mind. It can either be written on the physical calendar in the kitchen in pen, or it can be typed in the digital calendar on our phones. It just has to be one or the other, or both. I just failed to do both. To do either, yeah. Either or either. Right, I'm at 8 kilometres. Victoria's got a couple of 100 metres to go because she's not quite there yet. We're at 54 minutes, nearly 54 minutes into the run. Heart rate has stayed nicely in zone 2, around about 122 beats per minute. And we are almost done here at the Bag That Badge Chili Pepper route. Bag That Badge done for another week. We'll be back next week with another Bag That Badge route. There is another Bag That Badge tonight if you're in the States or North America somewhere, or South America, and you want to run this evening. There is another Bag That Badge tonight at I think it's 1 a.m. UK time or 2 a.m. UK time, so early evening USA. Tina says she has to write on the kitchen calendar. Alan doesn't do digital, so yeah, Tina has to write in actual pen on an actual calendar. Anthony says, yes, Darren, I've noticed they're far more comfortable to wear. Darren says, have a lovely evening, everyone. Congratulations to all those running. Thank you, Darren. Well done, everyone, for running. Good job. I am done here. I think Victoria is just coming to the end. Paul says, nice one. Well done, everybody. Thank you for watching. Thank you for taking part. Good work, everyone. Victoria is literally there. Are you done? 8.14, isn't it? Or is it 8.2? I think you're done. Oh no, there you go. 40 metres left or something. Yeah, I see. Right, thank you very much for watching, everybody. We are going to go and have a shower and then have some more food probably and relax for the evening. Enjoy your weekend, because as I said before, we are not on tomorrow. I'm taking my daughter out. Daddy-daughter day tomorrow. So I'm taking my daughter to London, so I will not be live streaming tomorrow. Amy says thank you both. Tina says have a great weekend. Anthony says have a good weekend, everybody. See you next time. Yeah, so we'll see you. If we don't do anything at the weekend, which is it's looking unlikely that we'll do anything at the weekend, but you never know. We did last weekend, so we might do again this weekend, but almost certainly we will be on Monday for the Monday community run at 6:30 UK time, 7:30 Central European time, lunchtime in the USA. We will see you then. Have a great weekend, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.